Miss Sparks, Miss Walton, Miss Duhall, Miss Victor, Miss Riggins, Miss Howard. Those were my teachers in elementary school at B.S. Ingram more than 50 years ago. Now, it seems to me that if I can remember the names of those teachers from the time when I was 6 years old through the times when I'm past 60, barely, that teachers must be extremely important. Teachers play a phenomenal role in the success and the future and the livelihood of individuals. I purport that, sometimes we don't give teachers their due. Sometimes we don't acknowledge and recognize the importance of teachers and teaching and education in our lives. So I'm here today to help, expound and disseminate more information on teachers, teaching, the importance of it. And we're going to do that through familiarizing you with the Georgia Retired Educators Association and familiarizing you with its president, Miss Myrtice Johnson, who is just going to continue to do a phenomenal job of emphasizing the importance of teaching and education. Look, not just in Central Georgia, but in the state. She's the state president, so I'm more than a little happy to be interviewing her today. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, and as I said, now let me tell you why I did that long introduction. Because, once you wound Myrtice up and she gets to talking, I might not get a chance. I might not get a chance to bring anything else. How you doing?
I'm great, Alex. Just great. Even with the rain, I'm still good.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And congratulations.
Thank you. By the way, my name is Myrtice Champion Johnson.
Oh, yeah, Myrtice Johnson. I saw that. And then I was from Smithville. What, Georgia?
Smithville, Georgia.
Smithville,
Georgia.
Smithville, Georgia. That's what I
I dress it up.
Yeah. Well, Miss Champion Johnson from Smithville, Georgia, but she's been in Macon over 40 years. And she's played. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a little country girl that grew up in a place called Smithville, Georgia. I kind of modernized it when I started going to Albany State. I started calling it Smithville, Georgia.
Smithville, okay.
I'm the 11th of 12 children.
Wow.
Born to the late Elder and Jimmy Lee Champion. We grew up on a farm, picking cotton. Finished from a little 4-room schoolhouse called Ship Training School. During that time, they didn't have elementary schools for the students in the black community. We went to what we call, quote, training schools.
Wow.
So I matriculated from there to Sumter High School in Americas, went to Albany State College, from there to Mercer University, University of Georgia, and Georgia State University, where I received my specialist degree. I became a teacher here in Bibb County back in 1990. Taught school 14 years, and after that I was assigned to a principal's job at Hamilton School. Stayed at Hamilton for 15 years. And from there I retired from Ware Elementary School after 2 years. Since that time I've been involved with the Retired Educators Association.
Right. That's outstanding, and you've been very, very active in it. And I know that locally, you've got a very, very active chapter.
Yes.
And you've been involved in that. And talk a little bit about, the role of teaching and education in our community.
Well, our country is founded on education. If you want to see how we got started, take a look at the Little House on the Prairie. Now you see those little children running to school with their little lunch boxes in the one-room schoolhouse. That reminds me, in Flower Branch, where our headquarters is located, we are the first, and I think right now we are the only one in the country to have a retired educators museum. is located in Flowery Branch, Georgia. And in that museum, you will find the little one-room schoolhouse where we are collecting items and to try to recapture what it was like during the early days of education. So I would really advise you, if you have not had an opportunity to go to Flowery Branch and see what the retired educators are doing. We have a great collection of what it was like, Alex, when you were in school.
Yeah, thank you very much. I came a little after the one-room school.
I went to the four-room schoolhouse.
You know, we had a building with inside bathrooms and stuff like that. But moving right along, but you know what? It's very, very interesting that, let me tell you something that I know for a fact. The quality of education depends highly on the human interaction. It's the teacher. Make no mistake about it. The books are important. The computers are important. You know, the different boards, the smart boards are important. But it's the teachers, and that's why it's so important to have a retired educators association that Ms. Myrtice is going to talk about. Well, I understand you did a phenomenal job on your presentation. I heard about you.
Oh my goodness!
I heard about you, and I can't even remember who told me, but it just the conversation came up, and they said some kind of presentation. Did you do a presentation?
I had to do my president's message.
Oh yes.
After I was installed by the great Eddie D. Smith Sr.
Okay.
Installed me at the convention, and after that, I was handed the gavel, and then it was my turn to give my president's message.
Okay.
In the message, I was telling them about my theme, which is Running with Champions.
Running with Champions.
The reason I chose that theme, Running with Champions, I was just trying to think of what would my theme be. Each year, each president gets a theme of their own. And I was debating what would I use for a theme. And the Lord just dropped it in my spirit. Use your last name, Champion. You are a champion.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how the name was born. And my colors are purple and gold. The colors purple and gold came from the theme. Because as you know that champions are winners. They are recognized for what they do. And those colors, purple and gold, go right along with the theme, which means royalty, courage, wisdom. So that's why I chose those colors to match my theme. My poster was designed by my nephew, Joseph Bernard Heilig, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, who's also a champion.
Yeah.
But there's some things that I try to stress to the retired educators about champion, what champions do. There are 7 different characteristics of a champion that are given by Hara Herring. So champion number 1, the champions must be committed to rise above average. See, champions don't just strive for average, we strive for superiority.
That's it.
We want to be at the top. Champions must have the heart of a champion. See, it must come from you. You just can't copy off someone and see someone else doing something. I want to. It got to be in here.
Right.
It comes from the heart.
Right.
Champions must confront their fears. See, champions are not afraid of anything. And if you know anything about your Christianity and who you are, you know that God did not give you a spirit of fear. So you are conquerors. So champions conquer. Champions, for champions, good is not good enough. You want to go beyond good. You won't just settle at, well, that's my best. No. Because your best might not be somebody else's best. Or your best, what you think is your best, might not be the very best you can do. So for champions, they don't just settle for good. Good is not good enough. Okay, champions must be willing to pay the price. While everybody else is sleeping and somewhere playing,
Amen.
champions are still working.
Come on.
They are still working because they know that what they have to do. They know what their goals are. They set goals. So they're willing to pay the price. Champions believe in excellence. Again, like I said earlier, good is not good enough. I remember once on the farm, my dad's farm, used to pick cotton when I was a little bitty thing. And as soon as I get to the cotton field, I would get on my knees and start picking cotton. And my dad expected a certain amount of work from us. And he got on to me because I didn't have enough cotton in my cotton sack. And I was crying. I said, Daddy, I'm doing the best that I can. And he said, girl, let me tell you something. Your best is not good enough. So I learned from that you cannot cop out with saying, I'm doing the best I can. You got to give it all you have. So let's never settle for, well, I'm doing the best I can. You got to reach the goal. So champions strive to reach the goal.
Okay, now, how are you going to utilize your position as president of the Georgia Retired Education Association, Retired Educators Association, that is phenomenal, to kind of permeate this through the community, because, some of these teachers are retired, but the active students and teachers need to hear this and need to be a part of this also. Is there a way to kind of let this trickle, through the whole educational system?
Yes. Educators, while we are retired educators, we still focus on our active educators. Because if we didn't focus on our active educators, they may not make it to retirement.
Absolutely.
And another thing we do for them, we have legislators. We fight all the time. We have someone lobbying. We have lobbyists at the state capitol who are always lobbying on behalf of our active educators as well as our retired educators. You might know there was a Senate bill that was trying to, I think it was Senate bill, House Bill 152, where they were trying to deny the the educators who come in 2017, that's this year, they would not know retirement as we do because they wanted to have to withdraw the state funds. Well, now, if we don't have state funds, that means the local has to come up with it because teachers put in a certain amount, the local puts in a certain amount, and the state puts in a certain amount. Where for several school systems, the locals may not have that money to put into the retirement system. So where will that leave the retired educators? So we have to help recruit teachers. We have to help make teachers. So if we take away the retirement, that's one of the incentives for someone to even come into education. So if you take away their retirement, when they get our age, what would they have to fall back on? They have to continue to work.
Right.
So they would have given this country their whole life, and now we are requiring them to continue to work to support their livelihoods. That is not fair.
I think it ought to be the high. I think teachers should make just as much as doctors and lawyers and all those other highly paid professions. You can't find a profession more important than teaching. I'm talking about a good teacher. And I think that if politicians and elected officials and governors and senators and other individuals in elected positions, they need to realize that.
Yes.
And that's why other countries are exceeding us.
Exactly.
In math and science and other areas. That's
why we have to have lobbyists around the clock to make sure that educators' interests are at the top. Right. Presently, our executive director, Dr. Bill Sloan, sits on the TRS board to try to make sure that things are happening in our favor as retired educators. Another thing we want to look at is our 3% COLA, cost of living increase. Well, there's always a problem with them trying to take that little cost of living increase from us. I remember about a few years ago for the BIA active teachers, they were not getting that 3% increase. But retired educators continue to get theirs. Why? Because we had lobbyists lobbying for us. But now the active educators are getting theirs again. Hopefully they will not lose theirs.
Right.
But if they do, we just have to keep fighting. And we have to start fighting even before this happens. Even when we get word of it, we jump on it.
I want you in that foxhole with me, girl. Well, let's move on because I know you got a certain mission, as it relates to increasing the membership of the Retired Educators Association, and assisting one of your an organization, because you get to choose what entity you want to help And I understand that you want to help the Shriners Hospital.
Children's Hospital.
Children's
yes.
Hospital. And then, but before we talk about the Children's Hospital, you said you got a special story that you want to tell as it relates to the Children's Hospital.
Yes.
I read that. Yeah, see how you're. I read that in your.
You're sharp.
Yeah.
But before I get to my story,
all right.
let me talk about some of my goals.
Okay, go ahead.
As a president this year.
Okay.
As you may know, that membership is the lifeblood of our organization. Presently, we have over 117,000 people in the state of Georgia who receive a teacher retirement check. I'm sure you still getting yours. I'm going somewhere. But we only have, at this time, 27,000 members who are members of the Georgia Retired Education Association.
Oh, wow.
Now, retired educators vote. We vote. We love to vote. That's what we do. We vote. We support our constituency. We support our politicians when they do right. And we don't support them when they don't do right.
Right.
By us. So one of my goals is to increase our membership at the state level. And here's our membership card. To increase our membership at the state level by 5%. Now that seems like a small number, but in actuality,
that's over 5,000. That's probably what, 6,000.
In actuality, when I look at the 20, see, we only have 27,000 on roll as members, but we have 117,000 we can pull from.
Right.
But we trying to get them to come on board. Sometimes when we ask them, will you please join the organization? We try to tell them some of the things that we do to help each other. And they say, we're just going to let y'all fight for us. And just $2 a month to join the organization. $2 a month.
Did you say 2 or 20?
$2 a month.
Wow.
If you take it out of your teacher retirement check, it's $2 a month. Annual dues deduction, $2 a month. But if you just want to give us a check, which we'll take, it's $27 a year.
Okay.
But we appreciate it when you pay that $2 a month out of your check. That way, we don't have to come back to you and beg you again to pay again.
Right.
Because, see, we lose about 700 members a year because they fail to renew. And then we lose another 300 members a year because of death. So each year, we're trying to recoup those members that we've lost. And in addition to that, add another 1,000 members each year. Right. So one of my goals is, as I said earlier, is to recruit at least 1,300 new members this year.
Yeah. Well, let me say this quickly to support this. So if your mama ain't none of them, or your granddaddy, or your cousin, your uncle, ask them, him or her, are they a part of the Georgia Retired Teachers Educators Association? Because it's important. Teachers is important. Education is important. And it seems that we've got a problem in our community with elected officials ignoring.
Yeah. Yes.
The power, and the need and the positivity, if you please, if I may coin that word, of education. So it's very important. Okay, let's talk about the hospital.
Okay, each president has a humanitarian project. My project this year is the Shriners Children Hospital. There are about 13 Shriners Children Hospital located across the country. But the one that is closer to Macon is the one in Tampa. So that's what I'm choosing as my project. The reason why I'm choosing that project is because those hospitals serve children who have neuromusculoskeletal conditions. That is, dealing with the bone structure, malfunction with the bone structure. They deal with children who have severe burns and different kinds of physical ailments. When I was a child, I had what we call scoliosis. Scoliosis is the curvature of the spine. And if left untreated, it could cause lung disease, heart disease. It could even cause death because it interferes with your heart. When I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with scoliosis. And, of course, my parents didn't have the funds to pay. I needed surgery. They didn't have funds to pay. It struck me at the age of 12. And normally for children, at that growth spurt, it'll hit at the age of 12. That's why today they do these scoliosis checks at the school to make sure the students are not coming down with scoliosis. When I was in school, no one did such thing as that. But thank God I had a sister who was in college who had heard about it, so she told my parents to take me to the then clinic. From there, they sent me to what they call the Crippled Children Clinic in Cordia, Georgia, to help me with my problem. From there, they sent me to the hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. At that time, the services were called the Crippled Children Services. But as you know, today, you no longer use the word crippled children. Then it was Scottish Rite, and now it is the Shriners. The Shriners have taken over that project. They serve children with these debilitating conditions. When I was a child, again, I had the surgery in the 9th grade. I had to stay out of school for a whole year, confined to the bed, wearing a steel brace, a Milwaukee, we call it a Milwaukee brace. It went from my neck like this, held me up, my back, all the way down past my hips. That steel rod just kept me straight, kept my back straight, just kept my spine straight. So I had to wear that brace in the bed. I was not allowed to get up, sit up, do anything but just lay flat on my back as a child.
For a year?
For 9 months.
Ooh.
I had to wear the brace for a year.
Right.
But the most painful thing for me during that procedure lasted a year and a half. So the most painful part of that entire treatment was when I got back up out of the bed and started back to school. When I started back to school, some of the students were very cruel. You know, they call it today bullying. I don't think we had a term for it back in the 60s. They would bully me and make statements like, "There go that sick champion girl." That was so painful. It was a struggle as it was trying to go to school wearing the brace. Some of the students received me as I was, and thank God for some good teachers too that received me and tried to help me. It was so painful for the children to bully me every day that I felt like I had no other option than to quit school. So I went home, I told my mom, I said, "Mama, I made up my mind. I'm not going back to school. I'm quitting school." She said, "What?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I'm not going back to school." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm tired of those children picking at me, calling me that sick girl, and I'm not going back to school." She listened to me very intently. I thought she was feeling sorry for me. And I thought she was going to say, "Baby, you don't have to go back to that old school." She looked at me, and she put her finger in my face just like this. She said, "Little girl, let me tell you something. I ain't going to have no diamonds around me. So you get yourself back in there and go to school." That did it. I never thought about quitting school again. Just from hearing my mama's words, knowing she wasn't going to put up with that. But I tell you, if she had allowed me to drop out on myself,
you wouldn't be president today.
I would have done it. Not only did I not drop out of middle school, I went on to get my high school diploma, my BS degree, my master. I got 2 masters, a 6-year. I dropped out when I was getting my PhD.
Well, you could do it. You could do it.
So that's why I chose the Shriners. Now I'm asking we have 145 local units across the state. I'm asking each local unit to contribute $350 toward this project. I'm trying to raise $50,000 toward this project. And we are accepting individual checks. Individuals like yourself may want to write a check out to the Shriners Children's Hospital, and the checks, as you may know, are tax deductible. For each person that sends their own individual check, the Shriners Children's Hospital will send to them this little cozy blanket.
Got to hold it up so they can see the bottom.
This little blanket with the child's teddy bear on it.
Yeah.
It's nice
so now,
and cozy.
what's the minimum donation to get? You know, I'm cold already, so I want one of those blankets. What's the donation there? How much you got to pay?
Well, it's up to you. The way the Lord leads your heart. Don't deny what the Lord tells you to do.
I understand.
You may want to send 25. You may want to send 100, 1,000.
While we on that, we need to give them the information as relates to where should they send a check to you, or should they? Because I think that somehow, if in fact, you could get credit, maybe they could put a memo on there in support of the GREA.
Yes.
We're
going to ask them to send the checks to their local unit here in Bill.
The retired educators.
Right,
okay. What's that address? Do you know?
The address is Post Office Box 6773.
Okay.
To the attention of Dr. Gail Fowler. Dr. Gail Fowler, our new president. Our former president, Mr. Frank Tompkins, just retired from the presidency.
Now, is that 31208? That's P.O. Box 6773. 31208.
Yes,
okay, well, that's outstanding. And we got the support of Mr. Tompkins, who just walked in. How you doing, bro? Always good to see you. Yeah. So that's very, very good. Now, let me ask you this. How can the community, is there anything the community can do, to kind of help support, other than encourage, all teachers to become a part of the retired education? Is there anything that just ordinary citizens can do?
Sure. Now, you don't have to be a retired educator. You don't even have to be retired, non-educator. Anyone
can join?
Yes, anyone who supports the cause
of education.
And that's everybody.
That's correct.
I believe everybody supports the cause of education.
Yeah. So how is there a number? How can one just become more familiar with the retired? Do you want them to call you?
They just call me. They can call Frank. They can call Dr. Gail Fowler.
But we got to give a number out.
They can call, thank you, 478-745-4760. We'll hook you up. Our state membership director, Frank Tompkins, his phone number, he's always recruiting members. His number is...
Say your number, Frank. They know you're here.
747-3570.
478-747-3570.
I'll come to them.
Yeah, and Mr. Tompkins said he'll come to you. So anybody who wants... let me tell you something, because we're running out of time. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And secondly, I'm going to, if Frank will come by my office, I'm going to go ahead and join the association today. I'm gonna write a check
Don't
today.
wait on Frank.
Yeah.
I have a card right here for you.
Yeah, I know it. I know that. I know we got a card. We got a card. We got a card.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that I want to do it today, and he'll come and get the check.
He'll come and get it. I know he
because
will.
I don't have a check with me.
Okay,
That's all I'm
right.
saying.
Okay.
And then we're going to encourage other people, and I'll have some of these at my office at 590 DT Walton Way in the event that somebody else wants to join.
I would also leave some at Macedonia Church.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to join, we'll have something on hand. In fact, we meet, the big retired educators meet at Macedonia Church.
When?
Once a month on the second Wednesday of each month from September through May.
Okay, what time?
12 o'clock noon.
12 noon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, congratulations again, Miss Myrtice Johnson from Smithfield, originally Georgia. Myrtice Champion Johnson.
May I show my T-shirt?
Yeah, you hurry and show it because we're about out of time.
One of my projects is the T-shirt. Each president selects a T-shirt, and the T-shirt start at $15, from $15 to $18, depending on your size.
I'm gonna buy a T-shirt too.
Okay.
Okay, but I want to take this time, right at the end of this program, to sincerely extend my heartfelt congratulations to you, not only for becoming president, but for all that you've done for the thousands of children that you've touched over the years. And so I think you are a great beacon and a great representative of how important it is teachers, principals, and educators are to our community. So, my hat's off to you. Keep up the good work. Any kind of way I can support you, the Black Pages can support you. I'm just as close as your fingertip.
And I support your Black Pages too.
Thank you. This is a call to action.
Call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, having interviewed Miss Myrtice Johnson who's the state president of the Georgia Retired Teachers Educators Association. Have a great day.